Hello everybody, my name is Jorge Nunez, and in this video I'm going to be talking about similarities and difference between language testing and assessment for the subject of language testing on the UTPL. Okay, language testing and classroom-based language assessment are just one topic, and this topic involves understand the role and use of assessment in the language classroom, language teaching and the role of language assessment in the language teaching, decisions that are made on the basis on the classroom-based assessments. So as I said before, I was trying to explain first what we're gonna need in order to do an assessment. In order to do an assessment, we have to provide the materials for the students so they can become ready to these assessments. So language teaching is only for all the teachers in order to know how to teach a language, in order to have in order to collect grades for those assessments applied to the students. So this becomes the first question that we need to ask. We need to answer this question. So that is, what is language teaching? So language teaching is for help students to learn the language you are teaching as a teachers, help your students improve their language ability, and also we need to understand these two main points because we need to help our students to learn the language that we are teaching. But how we gonna let them know how to learn this language in order to have an assessment in the future? So that becomes like a little bit of tricky question. So we need to be able to provide all the materials to be ready for these classes so they can learn in the best way in order to have a good grade in the assessment that we're going to apply in the future. So this helps also our students to improve their language ability. So in which cases? So for example, when we start to teach a language, so we're gonna be able to help them to improve that, to help them how to pronounce some kind of words that are very tricky, like understood, or maybe if you're gonna said okay, I got it, or or something like that. So we're gonna be able, and we need to be able as a teachers in order to give a correct explanation for those kind of words and all the topics that we're gonna be looking at in the semester. So also language teaching is the process of engaging students in language use task for the purpose of improving their language ability. So we have learned that this language teaching is the process. Is a process when you start to teach, when you start to prepare as a teacher, that the process that has started. So when you become to a teacher, so you are able to teach students. That means that you are in the middle of a process in order to engage your students to be able to learn, to be capable to understand and talk and learn and writing and reading in English language or the language that you are teaching. So this becomes another question. Why do I teach? So as a teacher, you are more than just an educator. We are mentors and confident and a friend of our students. One of the most common reasons to teach is to make the difference in the lives of as many students as we can. As a teacher, we need to understand this part because it's very important to be an educator, a mentor, a confidant of our students because they are going to be putting um, their patience, they're going to put all the confidence that they can in us because we're gonna be their mentors, the ones that they will be looking at in the classroom. So we have to be well prepared for each class in order to explain the topics that we wanna teach to the students. I will be teaching English language because I will be providing my students the correct way to let them learn from what I know, and I will be collecting the progress on my assessment to see what are the pros and cons on my way to teach. This becomes not only for the students, this assessment becomes to the teacher. So we need to understand if we have 100% of from 100% of students in our classroom, if we collect like 75% of a good or a good grades, we have to be sure we need to be sure that we are teaching correctly. So if we collect grades like 95%, we are pretty sure that our we are doing our task as a teacher very well. So, but if we collect like 10%, 20% of our good grades and the rest are wrong, so we need to redevelop all our way to teach, because we as a teachers, we don't have to think about the percentage of the students that we are not going to approve this semester. So we have to think, we need to think about the success of all our students in the classroom. So once you decide to teach, you have the potential to interact with the students at all the stages of development and from all the walks of their life. So as a confident, we have to be uh, pretty clear in this topic. What is language assessment? Collect information about your students' language ability, what and how much they have learned. Collection of many different individual language assessment tasks or items. Process of collecting samples of students' language performance is the first step in a larger process of using the results of an assessment to arrive at interpretations about the student's language ability. So this is language assessment. Assessment involves all these four topics that I'm explaining in this diapositive. So we need to collect information, collection of many in different individual language assessment, process of collecting samples of students is the first step, and this is the most important item. This is the first step in a larger process of using the results of an assessment to arrive at interpretations about the student's language ability. Why do I assess? So every teacher needs to assess. Everything, uh, everything involving the teaching process is assessments. So when you start a new topic with the students in your class, you need to explain very well so they can catch all the items that you are explaining, or at least all of them. You need to be sure that they are taking notes, or maybe they are asking questions to you, and you have to be able to answer those questions very easily so they can catch those doubts that they have very easily. So assessment plays an important role in language teaching and learning, and it refers to all those activities undertaken by the teachers, their students in assessing themselves, which provide information to be used as a feedback. This is very important, as a feedback to modify the teaching and learning activities in which they are engaged. So we need to be able to catch those feedbacks. We need to provide information to be used as our feedbacks for our use as a teachers. So as I said before, so from the 80% of these the girls and boys that get a good grade, we need to take that information. So we are uh, we are asserting in 80% of the 100% of class, but we need to reach to those 20% of students that we need to learn, we need to teach more. So we need we have to change a little bit our system of teaching, like putting music, or maybe we need to do more activities, physical activities, like playing games in the classroom, but also playing games that serves to them to develop their thinking about this language. What are the similarities and difference between language teaching and language assessment? So I have a table where I put the difference between these two topics. Teaching, participants, task requirement, purpose of task, and assessment. Teachers and students are the participants on both of these topics. Task requirement for teaching, we need teachers present learning tasks to students. Students engage in tasks that require them to use language. In assessment, otherwise in assessment, teachers present assessment tasks to the students. Students engage in tasks that require them to use language. Purpose of tasks: promote or facilitate learning, enhance learners' linguistic, cognitive, emotional, and social development, collect samples of students' performance as well for the assessment. But aside of that table, that pretty much I took that from our textbooks in order to understand better and also to explain for this video better. So what are the similarities and difference between language teaching and language assessment? Teaching and assessment, they inform each other despite of they are intended to serve different purpose. So as I said in the beginning, teaching and assessment are two different topics. They also serve to different purpose, but at the end of the day, they have to inform each other to make this system or of teaching good. Okay? Language teaching informs classroom-based language assessment in two important ways. So the first way is that we have to define the areas of language ability we want to assess will be based in the content or learning objectives of the language instruction. The second way is the kind of assessment task you use will generally be based on the kinds of teaching learning tasks we as a teacher want to use in the classroom. And as I said in the beginning, as my conclusion before we end in these diapositives, in my conclusion, the similarities between language teaching and language assessment is that first, to teach something, you need to provide something. Because if you go to a classroom without any material that is going to be for your students, the students are not going to catch anything of what you are going to explain. Otherwise, when you take material like, let's say, some kind of pictures, could be pictures printed, or maybe we can be music with a recorder. So any kind of material that the students are going to be more interesting to pay attention to you while you are explaining some topics in front of the classroom. And these are the and similarity for language assessment is when you have to provide materials as well. For in order to do an assessment, you need to provide like copies, or you need to provide like some kind of questions, or maybe you can do a dictation for them. So everything is based on the material that you provide to the students in order to help them to improve their capacity to catch whatever you are explaining in front of the class. And now some kind of difference between language testing and language teaching and language assessment is like language teaching is when you are teaching something, when the students are discovering something new. And language assessment is when you are trying to collect information about what they catch from those explanations that you gave for that new topic. So, as I said, this is thanks for watching first these diapositives. This is mm, my in order to finish this video, this is my report, this is my contribution for these video collaborations. And also I'm gonna be providing these diapositives as well, and also I'm gonna be providing this, which is my draft from what I was doing my presentations for this class. So hoping everything is fine in your ends, guys. Be safe, and we will see you in the next class. Thank you for watching.